Welcome back to your virtual biology lesson brought to you courtesy of IOTA Virtual Learning. I hope it's been inspiring. I remain your virtual biology tutor, Mr. Kehinde Adesina. In our last lesson, we looked deeply into the system which makes sure that waste metabolic products are not left in the body but are removed out of the body. In this lesson, we will be looking at another great system in our body that helps to regulate materials and processes in our body. The topic is hormonal coordination. So come along with me as we dive deeply into this very important system and processes in the body. Have you ever imagined having tiny chemical messengers within your body that controls everything from growth to metabolism to the mood and even your level of energy? This is the incredible world of hormonal coordination, where your body's glands and hormones work together to maintain balance and respond to every need, whether big or small. A very quick question. Can you describe a situation where you or someone you know experience adrenaline rush? Or have you ever felt a sudden jump up of energy that makes your heart race and your senses sharpened, as if you could take on anything? That is the power of adrenaline rush. Adrenaline rush is your body's natural fight or flight response, also known as emergency response, designed to fuel you in moments of excitement, danger, or stress. Therefore, adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, is actually a hormone that causes adrenaline rush. And in this lesson, we are going to be learning more about adrenaline and other hormones that regulate various processes in our body. Come along with me as we dive deeply into this process. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe hormones and endocrine glands, identify the endocrine glands and the hormones that they secrete. You would also be able to describe the roles of the following hormones in the human body: somatotropin, tyrosine, adrenaline, progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, follicle-stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, insulin, antidiuretic hormone, and other important hormones in the body. We would also learn the types of hormones in plants and their function. So let's dive in. So what are hormones? Hormones are organic or biochemical molecules that are produced in small quantities and released into the bloodstream by the ductless or endocrine glands, which affects the activities of the cells and tissues of our body. Let's take a look at what a gland is, the different types of glands in the body, what they produce, and what their function are. Let's start with endocrine system. An endocrine system is a group of ductless glands. Now the question is, what do we call a gland, or what are glands? A gland is an organ or a part that secretes things, mostly a fluid that perform a function in the body. For example, something you might be familiar with will be your sweat gland. This secretes sweat onto your skin. Your salivary gland that secretes saliva into the tongue. As we can see, the salivary gland and the sweat gland have pipes or tubes to channel what they secrete from where they secrete it to where it is being needed. So these glands are called duct glands. So can you guess what ductless glands are? Well, these are glands that do not have a duct or a tube to send their secretion to where they are needed. As you can see here in this human body diagram, the colored parts are the ductless glands. They secrete things that diffuse directly into the bloodstream. This secretion by ductless gland is what we call hormones. So we will look at the various ductless glands, what they produce, and their function. So, in summary, endocrine glands are ductless glands, meaning they have no tube to channel their secretion, while exocrine glands are glands that have ducts or tubes to channel their secretion to where it is needed. Endocrine glands secrete hormones which diffuse directly into the bloodstream, while exocrine glands secrete liquid like saliva, tears, sweat, etc., which are carried by tubes. Now let's look at the various glands in the endocrine system. The various glands in the endocrine system include the following: the pituitary gland, which is located at the base of the midbrain. The thyroid gland, located at the anterior region of the neck. We also have the parathyroid gland, which is beside the thyroid, that is, the anterior part of the neck near the thyroid gland. Then we have the pancreas gland. Pancreas are groups of cells in the pancreas called islets of Langerhans, and they are located at the loop of the duodenum. Next is the adrenal gland. Adrenal glands are located at the top of the kidneys. Then we have the gonads. The male gonads are located in the testes, while the female gonads are located in the ovaries. So these are the various glands in the endocrine system. Let's take a look at the secretions of the pituitary gland. The first secretion of the pituitary gland is the somatotropins, also called growth hormones. So somatotropin are also called pituitrin or growth hormone. They are released by the pituitary gland into the bloodstream. They target bones and muscles of the body to promote growth. Effects of high somatotropin and low somatotropin, that is, over secretion and under secretion of growth hormone. High somatotropin or growth hormone can cause the following. 1. In children, it leads to gigantism, a situation whereby a child or a young boy or girl is looking way too bigger than his age. Number 2, in adults, it leads to acromegaly, a situation leading to abnormal increase in the size of the head, body, hands, and feet. Effect of low concentration of somatotropin. It causes dwarfism, a situation whereby the growth of the body is retarded, making an individual to become a dwarf. Another important hormone secreted by the pituitary gland is the prolactin and the oxytocin. Prolactin and oxytocin are released by the pituitary gland into the bloodstream. They target the mammary gland in the breast. Prolactin stimulates and controls milk production, while oxytocin controls the flow of milk and also the contraction of the uterine wall during labor. The pituitary gland also secretes antidiuretic hormone, ADH. So antidiuretic hormone is released by the pituitary gland into the bloodstream. Antidiuretic hormone targets the kidneys, where it stimulates the kidney tubules to reabsorb water from the glomerulus filtrate during urine formation. This helps to maintain osmoregulation. Lastly, another hormone secreted by the pituitary gland are the group of hormones called tropic hormones. Tropic hormones include luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, adrenal stimulating hormone, gonad stimulating hormones, and so on. They are hormones released by the pituitary gland into the bloodstream. They target other organs with endocrine glands to control their secretion. So invariably, their secretions controls other glands to make their own secretion. This is why the pituitary gland is called the master gland, because it secretes hormones that regulate all other glands. Therefore, luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone stimulate the gonads, the testes, and the ovaries. The adrenal stimulating hormone stimulates the adrenal gland, and so on. Pancreas stimulating hormone also stimulates the pancreas gland. Every other gland have an hormone from the pituitary gland which controls their secretion. Now let's look at the thyroid gland. A very important hormone secreted by the thyroid gland is the tyrosine. So tyrosine is a hormone released by the thyroid gland into the bloodstream. It regulates the rate of metabolism, especially the respiration. It also stimulates mental and physical growth in young animals and controls metamorphosis in tadpoles. Metamorphosis in tadpole is controlled by the hormone tyrosine. Tyrosine is an iodine compound, and this iodine is needed for transition of tadpole from one stage to another. In the absence of tyrosine in the water, the tadpole will not be able to transmit from one stage to another. So, if we have two tadpoles with hind legs, butts, bell jar, water, thyroid tablet, and meat, and we follow this procedure to take two tadpole and put them in two separate jars containing water, then crush 25 milligrams of thyroid tablets and spread the powder on the tiny scrap of raw meat. Sprinkle the treatment or treated meat on the surface of the water in only one of the jar, meaning only one of the jar would contain the thyroid tablet. Now sprinkle the other jar with untreated meat as a control. After several days, the tadpole in the first jar, which has thyroid tablet, will develop 4 limbs and their tail, while the tadpole in the second jar, which does not have thyroid tablet, will show only a little changes. This definitely means that the extra thyroxine that has been attached to the meal or sprinkled to the meat in the first jar has been able to accelerate the growth of the tadpole. So tyrosine aids the growth of tadpoles. So let's look at the effect of over-secretion and under-secretion of tyrosine. A high tyrosine in the body will lead to the following. Number 1, increased metabolic rate, a process called or a condition called hyperthyroidism. It also leads to weight loss, overactivity or restlessness, or what we call nervousness, when an individual is overly restless and nervous. He or she may be having a high secretion of tyrosine. We also have heat intolerance due to an elevated metabolic rate. The more the metabolic rate of the body, the more the heat generated, and this can lead to heat intolerance. Effect of low concentration of tyrosine. Now, it causes low metabolic rate, a condition known as hypothyroidism. It can also cause sluggishness, cretinism in infants, dry skin, and it may also result in goiter. Goiter is a condition whereby the neck is swollen. The next gland is the gland beside the thyroid called parathyroid gland. It secretes an important hormone called parahormone. Now, parahormone is the hormone released by parathyroid gland into the bloodstream, and its function is to control the level of calcium in the blood. So it regulates the concentration of calcium in the bloodstream. Effects of over-secretion and under-secretion of parahormone. High parahormone can cause softening of the bone due to low secretion or production of calcium. It can also lead to increased loss of phosphate in the blood. Low concentration of parahormone will cause a condition called tetany or muscle spasms, and possibly it can lead to death. Now let's take a look at the secretion of the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland secretes adrenaline, also known as epinephrine. This is released by the adrenal gland into the bloodstream. This targets vital organs and allows the body to respond quickly in critical situations. This is why it is called the emergency hormone. It is this hormone that causes the adrenal rush, which we explained at the beginning of this lesson. Effects of high concentration and low concentration of adrenaline. High adrenaline in the body can cause the following. 1. Increase heart rate. 2. Sweating. 3. Anxiety. And 4. Heightened alertness as part of the body fight response. That is, it increases alertness of the body during emergency or critical situation. Effects of low concentration of adrenaline. It can cause 1. Fatigue, 2. Low blood pressure and weakness, and 3. Difficulties in responding to stressful situations due to insufficient activation of the fight or flight response. Now let's take a quick check of what we have learned so far. Let's read this story. Read the story of Jane below and identify which hormone play a role in the process. The first part, Jane is a triathlete. He eats a healthy amount of breakfast so that he has enough energy to train every day. It is time for the competition. During the competition, Jane experienced an enhanced focus and an increased heart rate. So think about this occurrence of Jane as we identify the hormone that play a role in this process. And here is the explanation. Jane has energy for his daily training due to the function of thyroxine hormone, which increase his metabolic rate to produce more energy. Now, in the second instance, the stress athletes feel sometimes during a competition can signal the adrenal gland to release adrenaline hormone. So this adrenaline hormone is what prepared Jane for his activity that gives him alertness and more focus to perform the activity in the illustration. Now let's take a look at the pancreas gland. Now the pancreas gland, located at the loop of the duodenum, secretes two important hormones, which are the insulin and glucagon. Both insulin and glucagon help to regulate the level of blood sugar. Insulin converts excess glucose to glycogen by stimulating the liver. These glycogen are thereby stored by the liver. Glucagon, on the other hand, converts the stored glycogen into glucose to increase blood sugar for oxidation to release energy. So even when you did not eat for days, you still get energy for some daily activities. This is because glucagon converts the already stored glycogen in your body back to glucose for oxidation to take place and provide energy for your activity. Now let's look at effect of over-secretion and under-secretion of insulin. High insulin in the bloodstream will cause the following. 1. Fall in the level of blood sugar, a condition known as hypoglycemia. Because the insulin is very high, it continues to convert the sugar into glycogen, making the volume or the concentration of glucose to drop. This condition is called hypoglycemia. It can also lead to incessant or constant hunger for food. Effect of low secretion of insulin. It causes high blood sugar, a condition known as diabetes mellitus. It can also cause high blood pressure. It can also lead to less appetite and great thirst. And generally, it leads to weakness of the body. The male gonads. The male gonads are located in the testes, and the testes produce a very important hormone called testosterone. So testosterone is a hormone produced by the male sex organ called the testes, and it controls the development of male sexual characters. So it controls developmental changes in male, such as deeper voice, facial and pubic hair, and growth in muscles and bone strength. Effect of over-secretion and under-secretion of testosterone. High testosterone can cause acne, increased muscle mass, low sperm count, prostate enlargement, which can cause difficulties when urinating. Low testosterone can cause the following: less body and facial hair, less muscle mass, hot flashes, and brittle bones. The female gonads. The female gonad is located in the ovary, and it secretes estrogen. So estrogen is a hormone produced by the female sex gland called the ovaries. It controls the developmental changes in female, such as breast development and the release of eggs from the ovary, which marks the beginning of menstruation. Effect of over-secretion and under-secretion of estrogen. High estrogen in the body can cause heavy or irregular menstruation. It can cause breast tenderness, and it can also cause weight gain. Low estrogen in the body can cause missed menstrual cycle, mood swings, hot flashes, and night sweats. It is important to note that over-secretion of estrogen also causes abnormal urge for sex in female, and it can also lead to early maturity of secondary sexual characters in female. Also, Over-secretion of testosterone in male can lead to abnormal urge for sex in male, and also excessive development of sexual organs and sexual characteristics in male. Now let us talk about hormonal coordination in plants. Now, coordination in plants is simpler than in animals. Plants rely on chemical signals and growth pattern to respond to their environment, rather than the complex hormonal and nervous system in animals. This coordination in plants is done by chemical substances known as plant hormone, also called phytohormones. For instance, plants uses hormones like auxin, gibberellin, cytokinins, and so on to regulate growth, development, and to respond to stimuli. The major or well-known plant hormones include the following: auxin, gibberellin, cytokinins, phlorangin, abscisic acid, ethylene, chromatin, domine, and formine. However, in this lesson, we are going to concentrate on auxin, gibberellin, cytokinins, abscisic acid, and ethylene. Let us start with auxin. Auxin is an hormone which is produced at the apex of shoots, and it is transported in one direction away from the tip. It moves across short distances by diffusion and longer distances via the phloem. It would interest you to know that the first naturally occurring auxin that was discovered was indole 3-acetic acid. Other naturally occurring auxin include indole 3-butyric acid, 4-chloroindole 3-acetic acid, phenylacetic acid, and indole 3-propionic acid. We also have synthetic auxins, which include naphthalene acetic acid (NAA) and 2,4-dichlorophenolxyl acetic acid, popularly called 2,4-D. Auxins promote growth through the following: by causing elongation of developing cells, stimulating the growth of cells in the shoot but inhibiting the growth of cells in the root. Auxin is also active in phototropism and geotropism. Auxin is active in leaves, fruits, and germinating seeds. Also, auxin causes apical dominance. By the concentration of auxins at the tips of the root, shoot, and stem, it causes apical dominance. It induces flowering. It also breaks dormancy in seeds. It prevents lateral growth due to the concentration of auxin at the tip. It also induces root formation. Let's take a look at gibberellin. Gibberellin contains gibberellic acid, and it is being synthesized in the young leaves, roots, and seeds. What are the roles of gibberellin in controlling growth? 1. It promotes cell growth. It is involved in the promotion of fruit development and seed germination. A high concentration of gibberellin causes rapid elongation of stem, a process called bolting. It also stimulates stem elongation. Another very important growth regulator we'll discuss is cytokinins. Cytokinins are produced in the roots, embryos, and fruits that are actively undergoing growth. Role of cytokinase. The major role of cytokinase is to control cell division. It also stimulates the development of the roots. It also acts to break dormancy of buds, leading to bud growth. It stimulates mitosis in meristems and in embryos during germination. It also promotes axillary bud growth in plants. Another important growth regulator is abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is found almost in every part of the plant. The functions include: it slows down growth, it promotes germination only when the environment is suitable, it prevents germination of seeds, it induces and maintains dormancy of seeds, it helps seeds to cope with high H conditions such as drought and high temperature, it controls the stomata opening and closing during drought. Lastly, let's look at ethene or ethylene gas. Ethene gas is a simple hydrocarbon produced in leaves, stem, and young fruits. The functions of ethylene gas include: 1. It retards lateral bud development. It hastens the ripening of fruit. It inhibits stem elongation. It accelerates abscission of leaf or leaf fall, and also abscission of flowers and fruit. It accelerates aging of plant organs. Alright students, let us review what we have learned so far in this lesson by answering related WAEC questions. The first question we will look at is taken from WAEC 2005, question 25. And the question says, which of the following gland secretes an hormone into the bloodstream of a frightened person? A. Adrenal gland. B. Salivary gland. C. Gastric gland. And D. Parathyroid gland. Look at the options and pick your answer. The correct option is option A, adrenal gland. Adrenal gland releases adrenaline, which is the body's response hormone to emergency situation, and this is what made the person frightened. Salivary gland and gastric gland do not secrete hormones. They are exocrine glands. Salivary gland secretes saliva, while gastric gland secretes enzymes. Parathyroid gland, on the other hand, secretes para-hormone. The next question is from WAEC 2007, question 16. And it says, persistent presence of glucose in the urine indicates the malfunctioning of the A. Heart, B. Bladder, C. Pancreas, and D. Stomach. The correct option is option C, the pancreas. The pancreas secretes insulin, which helps to convert excess glucose to glycogen. So if there is a deficiency in the pancreas production of insulin, more of the glucose will be left in the blood and it will be excreted with the urine. The next question is from the same year, 2007, question 17. The endocrine gland, which coordinates the action of other glands and also associated with the nervous system, is the A. Adrenal gland, B. Thyroid gland, C. Pituitary gland, and D. Thymus gland. Which gland do you think coordinates other glands? The correct answer is option C, pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is called the master gland because it secretes tropic hormones which regulate the action of other glands. The next question is from WAEC 2008, question 16. Plant hormones include the following except A. Insulin, B. Auxin, C. Cytokinin, and D. Gibberellin. What do you think is the answer?
The correct answer is option A, insulin. As we said earlier in the previous question, insulin is secreted in the animal's body, in the pancreas, and not in plants. And lastly, question from WAEC 2015, question 16. A farmer who wants to keep seeds for 3 years before planting and want to prevent them from sprouting out will use what hormone? A. Auxin. B. Gabelin. C. Abscisic acid. And D. Cytokinin. Which hormone do you think can stop sprouting? The correct answer is option C, abscisic acid. The farmer will spray the crop or the seeds rather with abscisic acid. Abscisic acid delays germination of seed until condition is favorable. So it will spray abscisic acid to prevent germination of the seeds. Do well to look for other past questions relating to hormonal coordination from your WAEC, NECO, JAMB, and even your GCSE, so you can practice